Check YouTube, make sure you can hear it. Say. Check YouTube, make sure you can hear it.
Mercy and grace on people I pray. Heavenly Father, my life is your way. Chain running next to my people to stay. Chicken some chicken, I want to make sure I'm my chest. Come on, it's a flash.
No, just make sure you can hear it.
Renewing my mind, in my heart. It will be easy, you gotta be strong. You gotta be strong. Walking spirit, sing the song. Praise his name all day long. Father, come out, y'all in the hill. CEO is in the spirit. Wait on, you about to tell your move. Wait on, you about to tell your move. Your way I'ma choose. My soul I can prove. Reading your word and I eat it like food. Then checking out, it was like food. Now should I happen to God before? Read what you saw, tell me what you saw.
Taking the back saying, taking the shit.
Making it stand there, go down. Promise you rather we standing up. Promise you rather we standing up on the lawn to make they feel the sun. Show you I love you like you from the law. I love you, my brother, like you from myself. All of your ways, man, feel for hell. All of your ways, man, keep it from there. Keep it from there. Rise prevail. Father, you will prevail. God is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Time away, girl. Scoop inside, put it scoop inside your will and command. You can choose the Father, so they can obey. Talking about the Heavenly Father, you made earth, so we go in the I need your help. I need your help. I need your help. Do it myself. You will prevail. You will prevail. My soul on myself. You will prevail. You will prevail. I need your help. Do it myself. You will prevail. You will prevail. You will prevail. Yeah. I prevail. Yeah. Rise prevail. Yeah. Sit on the throne, sit on the throne, victory give you the glory, dance and we give you the glory, yeah. Sit on the throne, you are holy, victory give you the glory,
Smash on,
Finnegan some girls on the road. I'm about to y'all can see my road. Pleasure the one never lands. Yeah, I love you like myself, but you my brother. Wanna step inside of the chains. Start to show us that the world around with hate. Keep us commandments of the world start to change. If you ain't got to say something, I was praying over months ago. I just feel like giving up. Open up the word, no renewal, I gotta get on more. Everything I ever went through really shaped my heart. This is shit one day I just started hitting in the dark. Come to the light, you will make stronger. And you will get over the sun. You can't hold the soul, you will not be dead. Repent about your sin. There's a matrix and they push you up to God. The creator of all things. This ain't church, not this ain't that. Boys, boy, why I rest? We got brothers in the church, they want that back from who they say. Even like the blood and they gotta stay close on the tag. Gotta treat me, precious close to my people. But the hand on my people, curses on us holy people. Found my heritage, nationality. We the emperors of life, sitting on the sea. We go raise the days and say, Heavenly Father, you the king. There's a thing against the water in the road. I'm a follow you to see the road. Let you know what it is. I love you like myself, but you my brother. One of the sons of different chains. Start to show us that the world when we're hate. Keep his commandments in the world, start to change. If you ain't got to say something, I was praying. I can go the other way. But I'm a single way. Give me love and never pay. Be happy in the head. We gon' praise the Father, sing and praise. Hallelujah. Kingdom coming soon, the trumpets blown. Hallelujah. Took away my trouble and my pain. Hallelujah. Pray you my praise and the rain. Hallelujah. 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 Come by the night. Sing a prayer for us, sing a prayer for us,
Shabbat Shalom, Facebook fam. Shabbat Shalom to all my peoples out on YouTube. We'd like to welcome you to week 43 of the manifestation of the so-called black man. of the so-called African-American man. This afternoon, we'd like to give call Hala Abba Ahaya Bahashem Yeshaya and the precious Ruach. Those of you not familiar with the Hebrew, that is all praise unto the Most High, in the name of Christ as well as the Holy Spirit. Once again, we'd like to welcome each and every one of you to week 43 of the so-called black man, of the so-called African-American man, who is from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel. We'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking time out of your busy schedule. We know you could have been anywhere in the world, so due to the fact you decided to join us this afternoon, we do not take your time for granted. Shabbat Shalom, Aviva, good seeing you on with us today. As you can see, Better Day is back, better than before. Matter of fact, better than never. The devil came back to Zen because the boy too clever. You understand? The enemy came at us like a rushing wind, tried to destroy us, tried to take us out. But I read somewhere in the word that the fervent prayer of the righteous availeth much. You understand? So the enemy came with his best shot, you know what I'm saying? But call me the young Kareem, because I came back with hooks, with the sky hook of the truth, and it was over. You understand? We went through a lot. We struggled. There was times that it got really bleak, but there was a light that was always shining through Sound Council to keep me in a place of hope. And now that I'm here, standing here today with this truth, with the brethren, it don't get no better than this. The line is back. Matter of fact, let me get that Genesis 49. Let me get that Genesis 49 on them. Right? Get that Genesis 49. Because we thought that, you understand, that we were done. I mean, it went weeks. The world was, they put an APB out on your boy. But all it was this right here. Genesis 49. Let's go straight to it. Start at verse 8.
Judah, thou art he whom thy brother shall praise.
Judah, thou art he that your brother shall praise. Go ahead.
Thy land shall be in the neck. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee.
You see, ladies and gentlemen, right? Through my situation, the enemy and his minions is coming to me trying to put things on me. But our refusal to bend to the norms of society caused me to be at the enemy's neck. You see, they wanted to scoop us up under the whole standard that everybody else is falling under. We refuse to do that. We ain't taking no vaccine, we ain't taking no chip, okay? We don't rock with anything got to do with COVID at all. You understand? This is what we is. We're sons and daughters of the Most High Yah, and his name is Ahaya. Go ahead.
Judah is a lion's whelp.
Judah is a lion's whelp.
From the prey, my son, thou art gone up.
So what happened is, as a result of what we're going to talk about in a little bit, Jacob's trouble, we became the prey. Go ahead.
As an old lion, who shall rouse him up?
Who shall rouse him up? Well, as you see behind me, the lion of Judah sitting behind me. You understand? And we roused up this afternoon. You understand? So it's time to get back to work. And I want to thank each and every one who took time to pray for me, who took time to reach out to me, who took time to sow into me, whatever it is you may do. I don't want to get and start to naming names, but I do have to shout out one particular assembly above them all, and that is Hebrew Heritage, led by Mother Karen King, Sister Kim, the Aunt Mari, the Aunt Desmond, Yashir. I want to specifically thank these guys because they went all out of their way. I'm talking about from day one to this day. And that's not to say that nobody else didn't do it. Shout out to 7 Days, shout out to Restoration. Shout out to the Atkinson family. But I just want everybody to know that outside of Better Day, no one stood with me more than Hebrew Heritage. My pastor always told me to give you flowers while you're living. And I have to make sure that Mother Karen, Sister Kim, Yashir, Myron, Marsh, Desmond, Josh, the firm, I have to let you guys know how much what you've done for me. Shout out to Dane. I have to let you guys know how much your love carried me through this time of struggle that I went through. I need to say that publicly because it did. So now, today we have a lesson entitled, There's No Escape, Therefore, There Is No Retreat. There is no escape, therefore, there is no retreat. What do we mean by that? The onslaught that is coming from the Gentiles and their leaders, the attacks that we're getting from Hasatan, the suffering, the oppression, and all of these things, there ain't no escaping that. These things is a part of life for the so-called black man, so-called African-American man. And now that we came to the understanding that we're gonna have to deal with this, that you can't pray this away, you can't have your faith to believe this away. Now we understand that there will be no retreat. We're not running, we're not hiding, we're not gonna duck and dodge, we're not doing any of that. We're standing in the face saying, all praise, all glory to the Most High. That's it. There's no retreat. We're not gonna run. We're gonna show you throughout this lesson today that we must stand strong, that we must stand with the Most High because He has proven Himself in this last month that there's no weapon that formed against us shall ever prosper. You understand? So let's dive in, D. Let's go Ecclesiastes. I need you to hold that and get Job, the first chapter. There's no escape. Therefore, there's no retreat. In the art of war, I heard something about Shang Tzu, what is his name? Shang Tzu said that, Sun Tzu, yeah, that the greatest fight that you get out of an army is to put them in a position where they can't retreat. You put an ocean behind them and they'll fight with everything in them because they know they can't run. This is what's going on right now with Judah. We've been attacked on all sides. We know that there is no retreat. There's no way we can run. We know we soon going to leave this country, but leaving this country right now without a spiritual foundation means nothing. It means you'll either die in Babylon or you'll die outside of Babylon. Death, one way or the other. Until we continue to filter out the things that are not of the Most High out of our lives, it doesn't make a difference where we are. This is a preparation stage that we're in right now for the great Shabbat that we enter into the rest prior to entering back into Jerusalem. So I want to talk first to my Christian brothers and sisters and to my brothers and sisters that's in the world. Ecclesiastes 7, let me get verse 8 there.
Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof.
Read that again.
Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof.
Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof. Now, I'm specifically going here is because many of our brothers and sisters believe that on Friday that this was the beginning of a new year. All of us used to believe that December 31st was New Year's Eve and January 1st was New Year's Day. Go out and get the black eyed peas and the collard greens and the ham hocks and all those things. We believed that the collard greens were dollars and the black eyed peas were pennies. And we said, nothing changed. New Year's resolutions for oftentimes were the same resolution that we had the year before. Nothing changed. Read that for him again, Dick. It says what?
Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm starting here is because for some of you right now, you're declaring that this is the beginning when the end of it haven't even transpired yet. So you're waiting for a new beginning with the Most High, and in essence, the Most High said, I got more to give you, I got more to manifest to you to March. You're outside of the will of the Most High. As long as you stay outside of the will of the Most High, you're never going to be in a position to fully gain from him because you're here and he's over here. You're waiting for this when he's trying to give you that. So if you think this is the beginning, when the Most High said it ain't even came to an end yet, that's a problem. Another aspect, read that last part of that verse.
And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
And the patient in spirit is better than what?
The proud in spirit.
This is another thing. This is the totality of all of us. That what we went through, what so many of us went through the last few weeks, we wanted this thing to end. We was constantly believing, declaring, and getting laid hands on, and we wanted this thing to end immediately. But the Most High wasn't trying to deliver us immediately. There were some lessons that we needed to learn. There was some repenting. There was some internal change that had to take place, and it was not going to be a full healing and deliverance and restoration until then. My Christian brothers and sisters, do you realize that the Most High shook up all of your holidays this year? Now, the powers that be, they were somewhere in a remote place sacrificing and going on with business children. They were telling you not to gather, but you best believe they were doing them. But many of you, your gatherings and your times together have been reduced to Zoom. And I really wish you would zoom in, and really take a look at what the Most High is saying to you. Because if I can't sit next to my brother, I got to go and get a computer screen to talk to him, that should tell me I have a problem. If I'm riding past down the road and I'm seeing nativity scenes in people's yard and the little baby Jesus got a mask on it, that should tell me there's a problem. I had a conversation with a brother yesterday, and he told me, he said, yo, man, I'm about to get this vaccine. I said, brother, please don't do that. I said, why do you need to do that? It's because people like you, man, y'all don't wear the mask and stuff. I got to protect myself against you. I said, so I'm your enemy? I said, man, do you think Christ would be walking around here with a mask on and taking the vaccine? Yeah, if he didn't want to get the coronavirus. I said, you must don't believe in Christ. You must don't know him. This is not a conversation, ladies and gentlemen, right now about wearing a mask or not. You wear a mask for your own protection if that's what you think you need to do. This has nothing to do with this. This is about a state of mind and an understanding of what the Most High is doing. And I think a lot of our people have lost sight of that. Because they want to escape, they're running. But instead of running to the Most High, most people are running from the Most High. Read that verse 9. Yeah, read verse 8 and then verse 9 again.
Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof.
Right.
And the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit. Mm-hmm. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry.
Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry. Go ahead.
For anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
Read that again.
For anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
Some of you right now are so mad and disappointed without being able to do certain things. You don't even understand it's limiting you and bringing you down to the mindset of a fool. Bible says in Psalm 14:1, the fool says there is no Yah. If you put a mask on Jesus' face, you can't believe in the Most High. You can't believe in him. Okay? It's impossible. If you bring your congregation down to a place and tell them to lift up their arms and give it to a government that has never cared about it before, you can't believe in the Most High. There is no escape. This world has completely changed and there is no going back. But the Most High has never changed either. Therefore, there is no retreat. Okay? Now, let's go to Job, the first chapter. I need to bring this out because I can't think of anyone that has endured more pain and suffering than Job. But I want to show you something key here that we must all make sure that in the midst of our trials and storms, that we mirror when it comes to Job. Shabbat shalom to Wanda. Shabbat shalom, Philip. Good seeing you all with us today. I was talking to Mother Karen a couple of weeks ago, and like I said, for maybe a week, I was kind of out of it. Really had lost track of time and what was going on, and Mother Karen was catching me up on everything and telling me all the different assemblies that were struggling and sick. And me and her was conversing about it, trying to understand what the Most High was showing us, because we know that there's a lesson, there's a message in everything that the Most High allows. And she said that as they were praying as a congregation, Sister Nisi, shout out to Sister Nisi, said that the Ruach showed her that the Most High said, have you considered the set apart assemblies? And when she said that, everything made sense. You see, we have grown accustomed to thinking that when something happens that we don't approve of, that the Most High is angry with us. But oftentimes, when you're walking in holy and righteousness, keeping law, statutes, commandments, there's a trial and a test that the Most High want to take you through, not to prove anything to himself, but to prove it to him, prove it to yourselves. He already knows who we are. He knows what we're going to do. But the thing is, sometimes we don't. So Job, the first chapter, read that first verse.
There was a man in the land of Uz, whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and the one that feared Yah and eschewed evil.
Now the word eschewed, that means deliberately staying away from. That means if I know Jay's wicked, I don't even rock with him. I don't buy from him. I don't go to his crib. I don't put my sons onto his daughters. I don't do anything. I'm making a sincere effort to stay away from him. I eschew evil. So if this man is righteous, fears Yah, and deliberately stays away from evil, why would something bad happen to him? Test. Because check it out. Some of you, ladies and gentlemen, you represent the only righteousness in your communities. You represent the only righteousness in your families. And when the Most High removes the heads for a while on you and allow the enemy to have his way with you, what he's showing you is, ladies and gentlemen, that he entrusts you with this storm. When all this burden and weight gets put on your shoulders, what he's showing you is that you're a whole lot stronger than you really think that you are. When nothing but pain and struggle and disappointment is coming to your life, what he is showing you is that he knows that regardless of what you endure, you're never going to turn away from him. Know how I know that? Give me 1 Corinthians 10 and 13. There is no escape, okay? Therefore, there will be no retreat. Watch this. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 13.
That have no temptation taking you, but such as is common to man.
So, ladies and gentlemen, it may feel as if what you're dealing with at the time, oh man, hey, nobody went through this but me. Nobody has it harder than me. Nobody has a struggle like me. That's not accurate. It just feels that way. I tell people all the time, feelings are real, but they're not always accurate. But look at that last part.
Yah is faithful.
Yah is faithful.
Who will not suffer you to be tempted above that ye are able.
He said what?
That ye are able.
He will never allow you to be tempted more than you're able. There is no way he's going to put some burden on you that you can't take. No way. But if it gets to the point where you feel like you can't take it, what happens, D?
Well, with the temptation also make a way to escape, that ye may be able to bear it.
You see that? So when Job went through this hell, the Most High didn't do this. And all that you have experienced, and all that you have been dealing with, the Most High knew, oh, you can do that. You got this. You just didn't know you had it. You understand? Now watch this. Now, D, with everything that happened to him, go down to verse 20.
Then Job arose and rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped.
And did what?
And worshipped.
He did what?
And worshipped.
And worshipped. What man get his whole family took out, lose all of his resources, and had done nothing wrong, and fall down and did what?
And worshipped.
And worshipped. That makes the enemy so mad. He confuses the enemy with your worship. Because you're supposed to be crazy right now. You're supposed to be cussing God. You're supposed to be cussing people out. But when you don't react that way, the enemy realizes there's nothing I can do to this guy. There's nothing I can do to her. They're with the Most High. This is what it means by that when you're in the hand of the Most High, no devil in hell can pluck you out. And read that next verse.
It says, naked came out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Most High gave, and the Most High has taken away. Blessed be the name of the Most High.
Blessed be the name of the Most High, and his name is High. So we have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that there's some things that's going to happen to us in life that no matter what we do, we will not be able to escape it. But because we know that, there also is no room for retreat. We're going to stand and we're going to fight no matter what. Okay? Now, let's go to Jeremiah 30. I need you to hold that and get John, the 5th chapter. Shabbat Shalom, good seeing you on with us today. Let's go to Jeremiah 30. I need you to hold that and get John, the 5th chapter. There's no escape. Therefore, there is no room. There is no retreat. Jeremiah 30, let's start at verse 1.
The word that came to Jeremiah from the Most High, saying, Thus speaketh the Most High Yah of Israel, saying, Write thee all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. Below the days come, saith the Most High, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah saith the Most High.
Right?
And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it.
This is where we are right now. Where the Most High has said in Hosea the 6th chapter, in 2 days I will revive them, and on the 3rd day I will raise them up. You see, the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, is that we thought prior to this, especially for those who were in the religion of Christianity, that we thought that we were just going to escape through a rapture. So basically, we wasn't thinking the deliverance was going to begin as we were here. We thought that we were going to, escape through a rapture, all the bad stuff happened, and then we come back after everything's safe. But the Most High said, no, I'm going to start delivering you right now. Go to Baruch the second chapter, and you're going to see when this was supposed to begin. It's very important, ladies and gentlemen, that you understand the timetable in which we're operating in. Because not knowing the timetable will cause you to get the spirit of wormwood, bitterness. Because you're living in one level of expectation when the Most High is dealing with a whole totally different thing. Baruch the 6th chapter, the 2nd chapter, we start at verse 27.
O Most High, Yah, thou hast dealt with us after all thy goodness and according to all that great mercy of thine.
Mm-hmm.
As thou speakest by thy servant Moses in the day when thou didst command him to write thy law before the children of Israel, saying,
what?
If ye will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude will be turned into a small number among the nations.
That's Deuteronomy 28, go ahead.
Where I will scatter them. For I knew they would not hear me.
But the Most High said, I knew you wasn't going to hear me. Why?
Because it is a stiff-necked people.
Right.
But in the land of their captivities, in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves.
So, ladies and gentlemen, for my Christian brothers and sisters, for all those who are thinking that your brother, your cousin, your aunt, your dad, your husband, your wife, you think these people are crazy? We're not crazy. It was prophesied that in the land of our captivity, we would begin to remember ourselves. That we would begin to understand that we're not Black, that we're not African Americans, that we are from the tribe of Judah, from the nation of Israel. Because the Most High declared through Jeremiah in 500-something BC that he would release his spirit back unto his people, no matter where they are. So I know this seems strange to you. I know it seems crazy. And the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, what you're going to find out is that all of these things, these changes that the world is going through, is a direct result of the awakening of the children of Israel. All of these regulations, all of these changes is done in order to hinder the awakening. They want to put a muzzle upon the elders and the teachers and the mores. This is all about the awakening of the children of Israel. Let's go back to Jeremiah 30. I wanted to show you that this is going to happen now, not after some hiatus or no rapture. Verse 4, Jeremiah 30, verse 4.
And these are the words that the Most High spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah.
Right.
For thus saith the Most High, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace.
So not only, ladies and gentlemen, have they seen and declared that the children of Israel will begin to return and remember themselves, but what also are they hearing?
A voice of trembling.
A voice of trembling?
Of fear.
Of fear?
And not of peace.
And not of peace. So, ladies and gentlemen, what you have to realize is that upon the awakening of our people, upon the deliverance and the coming up out of the graves, this shakes up the world. This makes some people around the powers that be very, very nervous. I mean, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. We made them so nervous that they just chose to shut down the entire world. There must be some power in Israel. They willing to shut down the whole world. They'll crush the economy. They'll do everything in order to take off the attention of what is happening amongst the so-called black man, so-called African American. Ladies and gentlemen, they didn't want you to know the true numbers that would have been if everything was normal with Thanksgiving and Christmas. They didn't want you to know those numbers. Because they know every year the so-called black, so-called African American community leads the way in the money that's spent on Thanksgiving and Christmas. What would they have to say this year when those numbers basically have been cut to a third by choice? What are they going to say? How are they going to explain it off? So they have to come up with a pandemic, loss of jobs. Israel still planning on giving kids some for rent. There's going to be a lot of money spent in the next few weeks for rent, but I bet you they won't count those numbers. You have to understand, ladies and gentlemen, we're dealing with the devil. Men lie, women lie. So do numbers. If I X those numbers the way I need to X, hey, this is big business here. You think, ladies and gentlemen, that it was a coincidence that last year, no, well, we know we're, I'm talking about 2019. Do you understand that all of a sudden, what's those little things, the little food things, Uber Eats, Postmates, DoorDash, you think all these things coming to pass in 2019 was a coincidence? Now, you know the city had these things, but I sure didn't have no Uber Eats in Anson. You can Uber Eats Wembley now. KFC. Ladies and gentlemen, all these home delivery systems didn't come by coincidence. It came because, ladies and gentlemen, they knew they were about to shut the system down. Just follow the money. You will understand what's going on. But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about the people. I just wanted to put that out there. Watch this. Verse 5. That's like in verse 6.
Ask ye now and see whether a man doth travail with child. Mm-hmm. Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins,
right?
As a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness.
This is a part of the awakening, the struggle, that the man will go through so much pain and so much anguish that he will be screaming like a woman in birth. The other day, I watched the movie Just Mercy. Really tough movie for me to watch. It was about this guy, Michael B. Jordan, went to Harvard and came down to Alabama and said that he would assist the people that was on death row that didn't have no representation. And with so many of Judah in jail with charges that they didn't do on death row, about to die. And it took it back and they was breaking it all down. They was talking about how people are under the impression that slavery ended. But when you look at the 13th Amendment, it says that slavery is ended unless there's incarceration. And as soon as the so-called war ended, they began to lock Judah up exponentially. All these roads, all these ditches, all these clothes, everything that needed to be made was made by slave labor in prisons. And when it wasn't enough, guess what? Now we took prisons private. And we came up with drug law with your boy Uncle Joe Biden. to turn the wave of locking our people up by the thousands. And this is the same guy that our people ran to the polls in November to say, this is the guy that's going to save us. No, he's going to be the guy that's going to destroy us. If you think you've seen crying, if you think you've seen pain, you haven't seen anything yet. And unfortunately, Israel is the only one that eyes are open to see what's going on. Therefore, the rest of our people are going to be led like lambs to the slaughter. Watch this. Verse 8, verse 7.
Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble.
This is the time of Jacob's trouble. The 12 tribes of Israel, the so-called black man, the so-called African-American man, the so-called Jamaican, the so-called Mexican, the so-called Puerto Rican, and so-called Cuban, the so-called people of Central America, the so-called Haitian, the people of West and South Africa, the people of the South Seas, the people that are scattered, the poor, the impoverished, all around the world that are dying exponentially at the hands of the Gentiles. This is Jacob's trouble. But what?
But he shall be saved out of it.
Read that again.
But he shall be saved out
But
of
he
it.
shall be saved out of it. There is no escape. Therefore, there is no retreat. Why? Verse 9? Slap to verse 8.
For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Most High of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck.
So at the same time, that one part of Jacob is dying, the other part of Jacob, who has been awakening and realized what is going on and receiving what thus says the Most High, will have the yoke broken off of our necks. Go ahead.
And will burst our bonds, and strangers shall no more serve them.
And we will no more be afflicted by the Gentiles. You see that? What else?
For they shall serve the Most High their Yahweh.
We're going to do what?
Serve the Most High their Yahweh.
Now we're going to continue to serve the gods of America. Now we're going to continue to follow the religion of Christianity. That's Yeshua HaMashiach, who the world knows to be Jesus the Christ. Not white Jesus of Christianity. Not the one that's telling you, hey, everything's okay. Put your mask on. Stay 6 feet apart. Not that guy. But the guy that's telling you, keep these law, statute, commandments. Follow the Ruach. Trust the Most High only. Cleanse your life in my blood. We're going to get to that in a minute when we get to John 6. Watch this. Go ahead.
Whom I will raise up unto them. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob.
So he's telling us right now, fear them not, O Jacob. Go ahead.
Save the Most High, neither be dismayed,
Right.
Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar,
Right.
and thy seed from the land of their captivity.
Right.
And Jacob shall return, it shall be in rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid.
There is no escape. Therefore, there is no retreat. Now, let's go to John, the 5th chapter. Matter of fact, let me get, where we at? What verse is that? 10? Okay, let me get verse 11.
For I am with thee, saith the Most High.
He said what?
I am with thee.
You with who?
I am with thee.
Not with the world.
I'm with thee.
Go ahead.
Saith the Most High. To save thee, though I make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee,
Right.
yet will I not make a full end of thee.
He said, you're going to do what?
I will make a full end of all nations, whither I have scattered thee,
Right.
yet will I not make a full end of thee.
Right.
But I will correct thee in measure,
Right.
and will not leave thee altogether unpunished.
So there are some things that we're going to have to deal with. There's some correction. There's some discipline. There's some rebukes that we can't escape. This is the good news though, D. Go to Isaiah 54. And get in verse 7 and 8 there. So, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be a chastisement that we have to deal with, regardless if we're doing everything right. Because our ancestors and us have done plenty of wrong. There's no escaping it. And because we know that, we're not going to retreat. And this is the resolve that we have in it. Isaiah 54, verse 7 through 8.
For a small moment have I forsaken thee, but with great mercies will I gather thee.
He called 400 years a small moment. Now, it didn't seem small to us at all. Okay. But what was that last part?
But with great mercies.
But with great mercies
will I gather thee. In a little wrath I hid my face.
He called Jacob's trouble a little wrath. So, ladies and gentlemen, if Jacob's trouble is a little wrath, imagine what the unbelievers and the Gentiles gonna get. So when you weigh it on that scale right there, we really don't have anything to complain about. Because he called this a little wrath. He called being lynched a little wrath. He called it being locked up doing life in prison for a crime you didn't commit a little wrath. He called looking and seeing all your families die from crack and heroin a little wrath. He called standing in front of a judge with all the evidence showing that you're right, and he's smiling in your face and locking you up a little wrath. He calls Fauci and Bill Gates then with coming with the needles a little wrath. He called the kickboard, the jack boots coming because you don't want to get the vaccine a little wrath. So what do you think they got coming? You understand? There is no escape. Therefore, there is no retreat. Now let's go to John 5th chapter. I need you to hold that, and then we're going to go to John 6. So due to the fact, ladies and gentlemen, that we know that we can't escape Jacob's trouble, some of us are going to have to stop complaining about our situation. We've been using oppression, lack of money, lack of education, lack of support, lack of this, lack of that. We're using all these things as an excuse for why we haven't received what thus says the Most High. Now that we understand that there's no escaping these things that we're going to have to struggle with, we got to stop making excuses. So we're going to go with the man by the pool. I'm going to show you how some people have chosen making a decision to suffer for so long when they didn't have to, when they're looking around at everyone else to blame. We're retreating in ourselves. We're giving up. And it's time out for that. John, the 5th chapter, let's start at verse 8. No, it's like you start at verse 1.
After this, there was a feast of the Jews, and Yeshua went up to Jerusalem. And there is at Jerusalem by the sheep market a pool, which is called in the Hebrew tongue Bethsaida, having 5 porches. In these lay a great multitude of impotent folk, of blind, halt, withered, waiting for the moving of the water.
Now, just listen to that description of the people that's hanging around this pool. It looks like your average neighborhood of our communities. The ones that's hanging around the stores, the one that's standing out on the street corners. Got a cup in their hand, looking for some help. This is the situation that our community is engulfed in. They're around a place where healing is taking place, but they're not actually receiving the healing in itself. Healing is available, restoration is available, but they're not taking advantage of it. Go ahead.
For an angel went down at a certain season into the pool and troubled the water. Whosoever then first, after the troubling of the water, stepped in was made whole of whatsoever disease he had. And a certain man was there which had an infirmity 38 years.
38 years. 38 years, dude. That's a long time, man. 38 years. Watch this. Go ahead.
When Yeshua saw him, verse 6, when Yeshua saw him lie and knew that he had been now a long time in that case, he said unto him, Wilt thou be made whole?
Now listen to that question that he asked. He said, listen, he put the onus of being healed on him. He said, man, you've been sitting here for a long time. Will thou be made whole? He was like, what is the problem? Every time, ladies and gentlemen, we begin to go amongst our community and amongst our families and start talking about what the Most High has done, what he's trying to do for his people, we get the same rhetoric back every time. Man, the white man ain't gonna allow that. Man, the government, man, ain't gonna this. Man, this ain't that. I tried that Bible stuff. I tried Jesus. I went to church. None of it. No, man. I ain't talking about none of that. And you ain't tried what we talking about. This is not something you try. This is something you live. This is who you are. This ain't a keto diet. You understand? This is not what we're talking about here. We're talking about receiving an identity and a heritage that you really are. There's power in our identity. There's power in a name. And Yeshua was like, man, you've been here. Are you going to be made whole? Do you want this thing? But look at what his response was.
The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool.
So now it's Deep's fault. It's your fault, Deep. You didn't come lay hands on me, bro. It's your fault. Even though this Bible tells me that I can believe for myself, it's your fault because you didn't come see me. I see people all the time going down my news feed, finding some different reason why they got to attack a pastor for something that a pastor ain't did. Why pastors ain't going to visit the sick no more? Why you ain't going to visit the sick? Why pastors ain't doing this? Why you ain't doing that? Everybody got something to say. Everybody's to verify about what the righteous act's supposed to be, but you're sitting at home typing on your computer doing nothing. What are you talking about? What about the homeless and the widows? Why you ain't doing it? You understand? Why haven't you got in this word and believe for yourself? Go to Deuteronomy 28, go to Jeremiah 17, go to Deuteronomy 32, and find out who you are. Why does it ever have to be on everybody else to get it done for you? Because at the end of the day, the only person that's going to do it for you in a manner that needs to be done is you. If you don't do it, it ain't going to get done. Straight up. There's no escape. You're going to get sick. You're going to go through pain. You're going to get your heart broke. But you cannot retreat into yourself when these things happen. You have to stand strong. The world has shown the Most High what they believe, man. They've shown it by the unwillingness to change, the unwillingness to shift and transition. the unwillingness to let things go. There was a guy did a documentary, like a little podcast thing. He was going through the malls back in December, and he said, if I can show you, if I asked you, he said, what's your favorite holiday? He was going to different people, and everybody was saying Christmas. And he said, if I can show you in the Bible that Christmas is not there, what would it do? What would it change about you? If I can show you in the Bible that the Most High told us not to celebrate Christmas, would it change? Would it change you? And someone said, well, you know, it just depends. How does it depend? One guy said, well, man, you know, I'll probably continue to celebrate it because, you know, I still want to get people gifts. Then another girl said, well, you know, I don't want to be that person that's the odd person in my family. So, yeah, I'll probably continue to celebrate it too. I know he would understand. Read that verse again.
The impotent man answered him.
Now, notice is how he's being described. He's being labeled as the impotent man. I think he's probably more of a complex person than that. But because he chose to lay there for 38 years, impotent man is now his identity. You see that? So because you're refusing to receive that you're not black, that you're not an African American, nigga is your identity. Thought is your identity. Broke is your identity. Hood affiliate is your identity. Your job is your identity. So that's why some of you going crazy now because you lost your job. You don't have no identity. So much more than what you're doing. So much more that you can see. You're not impotent. Some of you right now, you've labeled yourself COVID. COVID this, COVID that. COVID has done became a part of your whole vocabulary. COVID, 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 COVID. I'm an Israelite. And the power of being an Israelite, knowing that I had the blood of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in my blood, in my veins, that I share the same line with Yeshua, that's something that the world didn't give to me and the world can't take away. So no matter what affliction I'm dealing with at the time, I will never be labeled by a symptom, by a trial, but by my King, Yeshua HaMashiach. You understand? My current position doesn't change who I am. Read that again.
The impotent man answered him, Sir, I have no man when the water is troubled to put me into the pool.
Right.
But when I am coming, another step down before me.
And see, every time I try to do it, man, there's somebody in my way. Give him Romans 8:31. Every time I try to do something, there's always somebody trying to hold me back. Listen, man, can't nobody hold a child of the Most High back from anything but himself. Chapter and verse.
Romans 8:38.
Bring it out.
What shall we then say to these things? If Yah be for us, who can be against us?
Who can be against us? Who? Now go back and look at what Yeshua response to that was.
Verse 8, Yeshua said unto him, Rise, take up thy bed and walk.
Man, look, man, get up and walk. He had to talk to him like that, man. I try to tell people sometimes that everything's gonna be okay. You just gotta trust Lord. That ain't gonna go for everybody. Some people you gotta get up. Hey man, look, this is what we're doing. Because Yeshua knew if he went back and forth with this guy, he just came up with excuse after excuse after excuse. I mean, look, rise up, take up your bed and walk. We ain't talking about no pool. I'm here. I'm the healer. You still talking about the pool? Y'all still talking about education? You still talking about technology? You still talking about 5G? Yeshua is saying, I'm here. Take advantage, man. Take advantage. But this is the problem. Go over to chapter 6. Matter of fact, before you go, read verse 9, because this is very important.
And immediately the man was made whole and took up his bed and walked, and on the same day was the Sabbath.
The same day was the Sabbath. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Ain't supposed to be doing that. Whoa. What are you doing, brother? Look at verse 10.
The Jews therefore said unto him that was cured, it is the seventh day, it is not lawful for thee to carry thy bed.
God almighty. It bring you talking about me carrying my bed when I've been laying here for 38 years. I've been laying here for 38 years deep. And you want to call me out because I'm carrying my bed today. What do you expect me to do? Leave it? You know what, Yeshua, just come back when the sun go down. 30 years, come back when the sun go down. That's straining at a gnat. And we're about to look at this even deeper now, how some people, when that realness come out, they don't know no other way but to retreat. Let's go over to chapter 6 now. Straining at a gnat, bro. You know that long, you be carrying your bed. Boy, I tell you. Chapter 6, Deacon, let's start at verse 41.
The Jews then murmured at him because he said, I am the bread which came down from heaven.
Now, so in your own time, I would love for you to go and read this entire chapter of John 6 chapter. This is one of the few chapters that Yeshua goes back and forth with the Pharisees about who he really is. Normally, Yeshua is like, he leaves it up for the Ruach, but now, I guess he got, he swag on stupid, and I mean that in the most humblest way, is that he's telling these guys, listen, man, I'm the bread. Your ancestors, they ate manna from the sky, they dead beat. Okay? You hide on the manna. I'm the one who sunk the manna. Okay? You ain't me. You ain't going nowhere. This is eternal life. This is the problem. Now let's be serious here. This directly at my Christian brothers and sisters. Sometimes the real problem with people changing is because you're not ready to deal with the holes in your own doctrine. You see, some people have took hold on certain parts of the Bible because it fits their scenario, it fits their situation, but they're not really ready to deal with everything because everything makes you look at everything about yourself. So the Pharisees like to point out little things that elevate them. Yeshua says, listen, I point out everything that elevates me. And the volume of the book speaks of me. And this is a problem for a lot of people because amongst your peers, you are the hierarchy. But once Yeshua comes, you have no result but to come down. And some people say they don't have a problem with that, but they really do. And we're going to see that when the going gets tough, the weak get going. Watch this. Where we at, D? You said what?
42.
And
they said, it is not Yeshua, is it not this Yeshua, the son of Joseph, whose father and mother we know? How is it then that he saith, I come down from heaven?
Here we go. Here we go. Ain't that Calvin and John boy? That's LeVon and Iris boy. You think these boys gonna sit around and tell me that Jesus didn't raise on Sunday? You think I'm gonna let Iris boy that worked down there at Walmart, you think I'm gonna let Iris boy? I seen that boy. I remember that boy played football. I remember when he used to teach at the high school. I know the boy. I was there when he did it in this sermon. You think I'm gonna let this boy tell me that I can't celebrate Christmas? Okay? I know him. You don't know me. You think you do. You know who I used to be before I met the man. Because before I was practicing a religion, now I'm in a relationship with the Holy Father. You actually think that I'm gonna let Callahan boy tell me that going to church on a Sunday is wrong? That if I pray over my pork, it ain't clean? What do you mean that the new year don't start in January? Don't that what the calendar say? Boy, you're looking too deep in it. You're making too much out of the things. If they say this to Yeshua, you know they're gonna say it to us. There is no escape. Therefore, there can be no retreat. Go to John 15, D. We're gonna come back here because I need to stay here and minister to some of you right now who's being attacked for your righteousness' sake. And you need to hear what Yeshua told us about these things so that you'll stop getting offended and losing your own blessing over somebody misunderstanding you. John 15, D, and go straight to it. Verse 18.
But the world hate you, you know that it hated me before it hated you.
You understand? If the world hates you, it hated Yeshua before it hates you. Listen, the world love white Jesus. Okay? That guy's accepted everywhere he goes. But the Christ of the Bible, not so much. He's not gonna be widely accepted. He won't be listened to until the sky is cracked. And when he comes back, and it's too late after that point. Because there's no more talking after that point. There's no more going back and negotiating. It's over. Verse 19.
If you were of the world would love its own.
Read that again.
If you were of the world would love its own.
If you was of the world, ladies and gentlemen, the world would love you. But
because you're not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you.
that's just as simple as that. You can't escape that. Therefore, you can't run away from your responsibility. Hold that. Go back, Matthew 10. I'm a minister to the people today. Because some of you don't throw that towel. I done seen them towels thrown. When I woke up out of what I went through, I saw towels everywhere. I was like, man, I got to get back out there. My people, they're done. I didn't think 3 weeks, 4 weeks of me not coming forth, the people be, some people been thrown in the towel. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm joking right now, but I'm telling you right now, ladies and gentlemen, you need to get to the point where you can't have elders as your strength. Because I'm telling you right now, Soon and very soon, these things gonna be cut off. They're not gonna allow us to keep coming to the people like this. It's what you have established now is what's gonna keep you in the long run. You're not gonna be able to have this every week. We're gonna do it as long as we can do it, but I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna be this way always. Matthew 10, let's go, verse 26.
Fear them not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be known. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. And fear not them which kill the body.
Fear them not that can kill the body,
but are not able to kill the soul. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell.
That's the Most High. You understand? That's what you need to fear. I'm not worried about somebody that can kill me. I'm worried about the person who can kill me and my soul in hell. That's the Most High. So now let's go back to John 6. Shabbat shalom, Dame, good seeing you. What to say? Let's go back to John 6. I need you to see this. What was that, D? Isn't that now, what's that? Yeah. First verse, we're on verse 43.
Yeshua therefore answered and said unto them, murmur not among yourselves. No man can come to me except the Father which has sent me draw him, and I will raise him up at the last day.
Right.
It is written in the prophets, and they shall be all taught of Yah. Every man therefore that have heard and have learned of the Father cometh unto me.
So that's as simple as that. Unless the Most High gives you the understanding, you're not going to choose the Christ of the Bible. Because the flesh is always going to choose white Jesus. And I know people get tired of us emphasizing that. Man, why you always got to talk white? No, I'm telling you that because that's who y'all like and love. You don't want to hear the Israelite Christ. This version, what he's bringing out right now, this is the Christ that made these disciples walk away. And this is the same Hamashiach that's making many of you consider walking away. Watch what he says. Watch how it unfolds. Go ahead.
Not that any man has seen the Father, save he which is of Yah. He has seen the Father.
Right.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me has everlasting life.
Right.
I am that bread of life.
That's right.
Your fathers did eat manna in the wilderness and are dead.
They dead, B. Go ahead.
This is the bread which cometh down from heaven, that a man may eat thereof and not die. I am the living bread which came down from heaven. If any man eat of this bread, he shall live forever. And the bread that I give is my flesh, which I give for the life of the world. The Jews therefore strove among themselves, saying, how can this man give us his flesh to eat?
Right.
Then Yeshua said unto them, verily, verily, I say unto you, except ye eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, ye have no life in you.
You ain't got no life. And this was making them uncomfortable because they was like, man, what is this dude talking about? It's too heavy. What do you mean? Remember, he told Peter, he said, listen, hey, I talk to these guys in parables, but I give it to you straight up. He know these guys didn't understand, and he said like that on purpose. Because if they wanted to understand, all they had to do was ask the Father. But pride and arrogance is going to keep a lot of you in the dark. Being comfortable is going to keep a lot of you in the dark. Just like Jay-Z said, I don't want to have to quote him, but just to bring it out what he said, is that people don't get the picture till the weapons are drawn. And that's the sad thing about it is that you're not going to get the understanding of what the Democratic Party is going to do to you until the weapons are drawn. You're not going to understand what the government is doing to you until the weapons are drawn. Until you find out your whole community, or half of your community is in a pine box. And who else are you going to have to blame at that point? When the Israelites have been telling you for years, come home, get back to the law, statutes, commandments. There is no escape, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, there is no retreat. It ain't going to be no normal going back to the old days. This is what it is until Yeshua cracks the sky. James, the first chapter said, if any man lack wisdom, let him ask. The Most High will give it to you. Google ain't going to always be able to give you the answers. You understand? Watch this. Go ahead.
Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood has eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. For my flesh is meat indeed, and my blood is drink indeed. For he that eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood dwelleth in me, and I in him. As the living Father has sent me, and I live by the Father, so he that eateth me, even he shall live by me. This is that bread which came down from heaven, not as your fathers did eat manna and are dead. He that eateth of this bread shall live forever. These things he said in the synagogue as he taught in Capernaum.
So he was in the synagogue. He brought this out amongst the Israelites with the law open. But look at what happened.
Many therefore of his disciples, when they heard this, said, this is a hard saying, who can hear it?
Come on, man. Yeshua, man, this is too much, man. Now, remember, Yeshua had anointed 12 apostles, but then he also anointed another 70. And the 70 was going out, casting out devils, healing people, doing the work, just like the apostles were doing. But look at the difference between the response to a difficult time, to a difficult situation, to something that you may not be willing to accept, something that you have to take your pride and your arrogance down. Look at what happens here. What happened?
61, when Yeshua knew in himself that his disciples murmured at it, he said unto them, doth this offend you?
Does this offend you? Like Paul said, if I become your enemy because I tell you the truth, oh, you thought it was going to be your righteousness that was going to get you in, didn't you? Oh, you thought it was going to be your kind acts. That's why you took pictures every time you did something, right? That's why you go live 4 or 5 times a day, right? You thought it was about you. When I'm telling you it's all about me, this offends you? Watch this.
What and if ye shall see the Son of Man ascend up where he was before? It is the spirit that quickened, the flesh profiteth nothing. The words that I speak unto you, they are spirit and they are life.
Oh, you thought it was the flesh? You thought it was the man that was doing this? Nah, this is the Most High. It's the Ruach. So you were so focused on you when you didn't realize it was the Ruach that was doing those miracles through you. Now that you're realizing that all the hype and the applause that you was getting was for naught, now you're starting to have an issue because you thought that this was about you. Watch this. Verse 64.
But there are some of you that believe not.
But there are some of you that believe not. There's some of you that are pastors that believe not. Some of you that are leaders, husbands, wives. Some of you have congregations in the thousands, hundreds that believe not. Some of you got fringes on from head to toe that believe not. And what else?
For Yeshua knew from the beginning who they were that believed not, and who should betray him.
I know he know clearly well who gonna rock with him to the end and who not. This ain't catching him off guard. He going ahead and just filtering out these guys so we can do the rest of the work. And 2020, ladies and gentlemen, was a filtering process for the Most High. All these guys who don't want to do nothing, that was looking for your own hype, you're gone. We don't even see you no more. let a little sickness, let a little struggle, let a little hardship come, and you're out of here. He knew you couldn't depend on it, and we knew we couldn't depend on you too. We loved you because we thought, we said, wait, hey, if we love you, if we be there for you, support you, you'll see the truth and you'll come, you'll stay. But we knew it. We ain't caught off guard as we did. Now it's getting hard. Now it's getting rough, raining outside. You're looking for an umbrella. You never left us, you left Yeshaya. This is what you got to understand. Look at this. Go ahead.
And he said, therefore said I unto you that no man can come unto me except it were given unto him of my Father.
Right.
From that time, many of his disciples went back and walked no more with him.
Yes, sir. After they got called out and put on Front Street, exposed, after all of that, they walked away from Yeshaya. Let's see how Yeshaya dealt with that. Go ahead.
Then said Yeshaya unto the 12, will ye also go away?
Are you out too? Because listen, I'm going to die for Israel regardless. Whether y'all here with me or not, that's what the Father sent me to do. There is no escape of what I have to deal with. I have accepted that. I accepted it before I left heaven. The question is whether you have accepted your purpose. You are willing to make your sacrifice. Are you willing to give your all? So he looked at the 12. You about to slide too, bro? Because I don't have no problem with standing alone. Look what he said. Look what Peter said.
Then Simon Peter answered him, Master, to whom shall we go?
And that's what Better Day is saying. Whom shall we go? There is no escape, therefore there is no retreat. Because once you're in this truth and you understand, where are you going from there? Back to Christianity? You think you about to see me with a kufi on my head talking about some Allah? Ain't happening. You think I'm going back to the world? No. Where else can we go? There can be no retreat because there is no escape. We understand that. Now, let's go to Matthew 16. I need you to hold that and get 1 Maccabees 3. Peter said, listen, man. Where else? Where I'm going? To who? For what? Let's go to Matthew 16. I hope this is helping somebody today. I've been sitting on this for 2 weeks. Matthew 16. And let's start at verse 13.
When Yeshua came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, whom do men say that the Son of Man am?
This is the question I'm asking you today. Because many of you have been getting questions from your co-workers and from your family members and from your social media. I don't like to use the word followers, friends list, whatever the case may be. About your posts, about your life, about your decisions that you're making, your choices. And people want to know, because the first thing that many times people say to us when they find out that we're Israelites, and they always say, well, y'all don't believe in Jesus no more? That's the first thing they say. And, to keep from being offensive or to be a stumbling block, we say we never stop believing in Jesus. It was him that brought us into the truth of who we are. You see, once you understand who he really is, you can understand who you really are. You see, once you get past the images that Christianity put forth and the world put forth, and looking at him through the lens of America and the Western world, everything changes. Everything that America sells is a lie. It's a delusion. It's witchcraft. Everything. The television is witchcraft. And you have to get to the point where it doesn't take you all day long. When somebody asks you about Yeshua, you don't have to go and send them a tape, send them a teaching. You sit down like, yo, this is Yeshua, right? You don't have to go through the Bible and give them 50 verses and precepts. You can tell them about him because you know him. And say, who is the Son of Man? Who do you say the man? Say verse 14 says what?
And they said, some say that thou art John the Baptist,
right?
Some Elijah, and others Jeremiah or one of the prophets. Mm-hmm. And he said unto them, but whom say ye that I am?
I never asked you what they said. Okay. I didn't tell you to go by and poll the Ames Zion Church and see what they teaching about Christ. I didn't ask you to go and break down Kojic in the Pentecostal church and then go through and see what the Messianic Jewish people talk. I didn't ask you that. I asked you, who do you say? Because you're the one with me, and you're the ones that I've chosen. You're the ones that I've called to do this work. I need to make sure that you're on point, because if you're on point, you'll get the rest of the world on point. Israel, you have to understand that us being chosen and set apart and called out to do this work is way more than a bragging point in a conversation. We have a responsibility to be the light and salt of this world. We're the only light left in this dark world. We're it. If we don't teach it, if we don't bring it out, it won't be taught. And that's just as simple as that. I ain't talking about better day, I'm talking about Israel. Let me make that clear. Because people, sound bites. They say, man, the better day is the only one with the truth. Shouldn't even have to do that, but that's what it is. So what else he say?
And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Mashiach, son of the living Yahweh. Mm-hmm. And Yeshua answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon Bar-Jonah, for flesh and blood has not revealed it unto thee, but my Father which is in heaven. The understanding of who Yeshua HaMashiach, who the world knows to be Jesus Christ truly is, cannot come no other way but through the Ruach. By establishing a relationship with the Father, and the Father introducing you to the Son. You see, you can't get to the Father unless you come through HaMashiach, but the truth of the matter is that when you're outside of everything, it's the Father who sends the Son in the first place. So your attempt to get to the Father is what helps you get to the Son, and the Son says, listen, I'm the way, the truth, and the life. And I know that may seem confusing, but it's almost like this right here. You need a job, right? You go to a corporation and apply for a job. You apply for the job in the corporation, but there's an actual department in the corporation in which you get hired with. You can't work at the top of the corporation without going to this point of the corporation. The corporation gives you a job, now you're in the corporation. Well, you can't get to the kingdom without accessing the Father. The Father says, my Son is the application process.
You feel him out? He hires you. Romans 8:34 says he sits next right at the right hand of the Father, making intercession for you. But the thing about it is, with the corporation is, you don't even know the corporation exists until the Ruach comes to tell you. Holy Spirit. You understand? Now, so Peter says, listen, this is who you are. And Yeshua acknowledges that you didn't come up with this on your own. The Father is the one that gave you this. And look at what he says here.
And I say also unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock.
Upon what?
This rock I will build my church.
Now, this is the misconfusion, misunderstanding that many people get here. It's because the Catholic Church says this meant that the church was built on Peter. Because Peter didn't even remain the leader of the church in itself. James, Yeshua's brother, was the leader. So that can't be factual. What this is talking about is this revelation of who Yeshua is. This is what the foundation of the church will be. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as we continue to tell people, the church is not a building. The church is the people. And the people will be gathered based on this. And he said, what else?
I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail against it.
And the gates of hell shall not prevail against it. Ladies and gentlemen, you only put gates up if you're trying to keep someone out. The enemy had came and robbed and hijacked our souls, our belief system, our identity, our heritage. Now that we know who Yeshua is, we know who we are now. We're not Black. We're not African Americans. We're from the tribe of Yehuda, of Judah, of the nation of Israel. Now, with that mandate, we can go forward through the gates and get our people. Isaiah 49:6. There is no escape. Therefore, there is no retreat. We're not running from the gates of hell. We're running through it. You understand? It is only because we have this understanding of who he is. You show up at the gates of hell at white Jesus, you ain't getting in. They're going to high five as you turn your back. The dude at the gate is going to high five white Jesus and say, oh, you got another one. You come with Israelite Yeshua, you're busting through the gates. And anybody that's there will be rescued and awakened and healed. You understand? No escape, no retreat. We're running through it. Why do we have this passion? Why do we have this fire? What is in us? First Maccabees, 3rd chapter. We almost done. I promised myself today that I wouldn't come back on a 3-4 hour lesson. Back at it. First Maccabees, 3rd chapter, and then start at verse 5.
For he pursued the wicked and saw them out and burnt up those that vexed his people. Wherefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled, because salvation prospered in his hand.
This is talking about the Judas Maccabees. When his father passed on and he took it on, the first step that Judas Maccabees did was not talking about the Gentiles. He began to go through the land and get all the wicked Israelites subdued. You see, this is what I'm talking about, ladies and gentlemen, is that our people want to talk about the so-called white man, the government, this, and that. We got enough problems amongst ourselves. When I look out on the corners, I don't see Bobby and Joey slinging crack. I see Junebug and Big Jock. Okay? When the kids are getting molested, I don't see little white guys coming through here molesting the kids. I think it's our own people molesting the kids. It's our own people doing sex trade. It's our own people fornicating and taking advantage of the women. We got to get rid of this wickedness that's being allowed in our communities. We got to subdue it. This can't be allowed anymore. If you're not with the Most High, you're not keeping law, statutes, commandments, we're gonna rock with you, period. This ain't no black thing no more. That's done, it's over with. And people got to understand that. Because if not, you will be consumed with them. Repent or perish with the rest. Verse 8, verse 7.
He grieved also many kings and made Jacob glad with his acts, and his memorial is blessed forever.
Go ahead.
Moreover, he went through the cities of Judah, destroying the ungodly out of them, and turning away wrath from Israel.
You see that? Read that again, D. That's very key right there. Go ahead.
Destroy the ungodly out of them.
So by destroying the ungodly out of Israel, what did he do as a result? Then he turned away the wrath of the Most High for Israel, because the wrath is coming on our people because of wickedness and sin. We cease to sin, we get the wickedness out, the ungodly out, the wrath of the Most High cease. You see that? So there's no retreat. We got work to do, and it starts at home. Verse 9.
So that he was renowned unto the utmost parts of the earth, and received unto him such as were ready to perish.
Now, go down to verse 15.
So he made him ready to go up, and there went with him a mighty host of ungodly to help him and to avenge of the children of Israel.
Now, this is talking about the king of Syria. The king of Syria said, you know what, man, I seen Judas out here doing his thing. Well, I want to please Antiochus, the king of Greece. I'm going to go up and fight against him. And if I take him out, I'm going to be the man. Because Judas is the man. You take down the man, you become the man. Right? So he gets this whole host of soldiers, and the whole point of it was to come and to avenge and destroy Israel. Watch this.
And when he came near to the going up of Beth Horon, Judas went forth to meet him with a small company.
Now he came with a small company, knowing that he had a large company. Ladies and gentlemen, we recognize here in America in the West, we only have a small number of people that's really truly ready and willing to stand with the Most High. We make up about 13-14% of the population of this country. And the truth of the matter is, the Most High can only count on about 4 to 5% of us. Because another 4 to 5% is lost and just going out of their minds and doing whatever they want. And the rest of them are blind leaders of the blind, telling themselves that they're with the Most High, but they're not. They don't want the reality of it. They want to continue to gas themselves up, making themselves believe they're with the Most High. Look, ain't no such thing as halfway crooks. Scared to death and scared to look, they shook. You can't bring these guys to the battle. And look at what he said.
Who, when they saw the host coming to meet them, said unto Judas, how shall we be able, being so few, to fight against so great a multitude and so strong, seeing we are ready to faint with fasting all this day?
So they ain't been fasting, seeking the Most High. They see this large army. And they asked Judas, they said, man, we're not at our strongest. We don't have the numbers. How are we going to win this? We don't stand a chance. And this is the conversation that we'll be having, that we have oftentimes with the people. And they say to us, well, there's way more than them than there's us, and how we're going to be able to get the people together, how we're going to win this, how we're going to accomplish this, how we're going to do this. And I must admit to you that sometimes it can be very disheartening. I mean, last few weeks when I was going through my situation, I felt like, listen, I can't even really do for myself right now. How in the world am I going to do for others? But the truth of the matter is this, is that the Most High has never been moved by numbers. He's never been moved by the strength of man, the outward appearance. He's only moved by faith. When you look at it on paper, David should have never had a chance against Goliath. When you look at it on paper, we never had a problem. We should never had a chance against Jericho. We should have never had a chance to conquer and win the land of Canaan. But that don't matter when it comes to the Most High. At the end of the day, if we trust and believe, all things are possible. And this is what Judas is going to remind him of. Watch this.
18, unto whom Judas answered, it is no hard matter for many to be shut up in the hands of a few. And with the Yah of heaven, it is all one, to deliver with a great multitude or a small company.
It don't matter. It don't matter. It's nothing but a thing for the Most High. It's kind of what he specializes in. To take the underdog, to take the unlikely to have a chance and make them supreme winner. It's kind of like his thing. He gets off on that. Watch this. Verse 19.
For the victory of battle standeth not in the multitude of a host,
right?
But strength coming from heaven.
But strength comes from where?
But strength cometh from heaven.
Now strength comes from the amount of money we got.
Cometh from heaven.
Uh-huh.
They come against us in much pride and iniquity to destroy it.
Right.
And our wives and children and to spoil us.
So they're coming to take everything we got with great pride. These guys are sitting amongst themselves in these Bloomberg meetings, man. Hey, that's all they're talking about is destroying us. You saw the video of Bill Gates. He said, hey, when this next wave comes, hey, they're going to understand then. Smiling at the death of people. You know something. You understand? They come with great pride, great iniquity. They kill our wives, kill our children, and take everything we got. There's no escaping that. They're coming. For those who haven't seen the lesson that we did a few months ago, the Romans are coming. The Romans are coming. Go check it out. But look at what it said in verse 21.
But we fight for our lives and our law.
What do we fight for, D?
Our lives and our law.
We're fighting for our lives and the Most High's law. Go ahead.
Wherefore the Most High himself will overthrow them before your face. And as for you, be ye not afraid of them.
You see that? Because we're standing with the Most High in his truth, he's going to stand for us. There is no escape. Therefore, there's no retreat. Con? Now, let's end this thing out. Isaiah 52. You got anything? Anybody got precepts? Good. End this thing off with Isaiah 52. There is no escape. Therefore, there is no retreat. Isaiah 52. Let's start at verse 1.
Awake, awake, put on thy strength, O Zion, put on thy beautiful garments, O Jerusalem, the holy city. For henceforth there shall no more come into thee the uncircumcised and the unclean.
That's over with, man. We move past that. Okay? The uncircumcised and unclean, that's over with. Y'all want to do that? You got to do that over there. It's over. Israel is awakened now. We're not doing no paganism. We're not doing no witchcraft. We're not doing none of it. We're not pouring out no libations, calling on no ancestors. We're not doing none of that. Israelite lives matter. Torah matters. I say it a bunch of my life, man, when I switched to Torah, man. You understand? Verse 2.
Shake thyself from the dust and arise and sit down. And O Jerusalem, loose thyself from the bands of thy neck.
We loosen ourselves now. Notice over there in Jeremiah 30, the Mosiah said he was going to begin to break it. Now that the bonds are broke, Mosiah said, now you take it off. Take it off. Some of you want to leave it on because it's cool. You glory in oppression. Nah, we don't need the blackness no more. We don't need the cool. We don't need you. We don't need the pity party. We don't need none of that. We're good. Our Yah has us. We're fine over here. It's okay. Verse 3.
But thus saith the Most High, ye have sold yourselves for naught, and ye shall be redeemed without money.
Read that again.
Ye have sold yourselves for naught.
We gave up ourselves for a basketball. You put yourself on the line for a car, for clothes and jewelry. You risked 40 years in prison to get a girl. We sold ourselves for naught, for nothing. We served the other guys just for temporary pleasure. You joined fraternities and sororities for a job, for some cash, to be popular on campus. You sold yourself to the devil just for a hookup. But what was that last one?
And ye shall be redeemed without money.
But you shall be redeemed without money. Verse 4.
But thus saith the Most High Yah, my people went down aforetime into Egypt to sojourn there, and the Assyrians oppressed them without cause.
So he said, listen, you came over in Egypt and slave ships. I freed you, brought you out off the plantations, and Esau tortured you for no cause. Jim Crow was unnecessary. You know? The riding and lynch parties was unnecessary. Burning down our houses and stuff was unnecessary. Raping our women was unnecessary. You already had us. We was at the bottom. Redlining was unnecessary. A crooked and wicked justice system was unnecessary. You already had us. We was defeated. Putting crack and heroin into our community was unnecessary. Putting abortion clinics into our hoods was unnecessary. Putting poison and things into our water and into our food supplies, turning our children to homosexuals was unnecessary. But you did it anyway. Watch this.
Verse 5, now therefore, what have I here, saith the Most High? that my people is taken away for naught.
You thought I was going to sit back and let my people be destroyed for nothing? Says the Most High. Go ahead.
They that rule over them make them to howl, say the Most High. And my name continuously every day is blasphemed.
Because the Most High and the rest of the world know that the so-called black man, so-called African-American woman belongs to him. So as long as they're on the bottom and the Most High looks as if he don't take care of his children. His name is blasphemy. You think that he was going to sit back and allow that? Look at what he said in the next verse, D.
Therefore my people shall know my name.
They shall what? They shall know what?
Know my name.
Uh-huh.
Therefore they shall know in that day that I am.
They gonna know what? They gonna know what? That are higher. You see that? Read it again.
Therefore my people shall know my name.
They gonna know my name. That who? That are higher, are sure, are higher. He that do speak, behold, it is I. This is what we were talking about in the beginning, in Baruch, the 2nd chapter, that in the land of their captivity, they shall remember themselves. Because he's going to send his spirit, and he's going to say, it's me, a higher. The one who got you out of Egypt the first time, guess what? I come to rescue you again. There's no escape. Therefore, there's no retreat. He's here. He's speaking. Come home. Watch this. Go ahead.
How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of him that bringeth good tidings, that publisheth peace and bringeth good tidings of good, that publisheth salvation, that saith unto Zion, thy Yah reigneth.
We letting everybody know that a high is back. It's over. Just as he destroyed the gods of Egypt, the gods of America, the gods of Edom, the gods of the Japhet are about to go down. Yeshua is getting ready to come back. And when he comes, there is no talk. And until he comes, we're going to do what? Next verse.
Thou watchers shall lift up the voice. With the voice together they shall sing, for they shall see eye to eye, when the Most High shall bring again Zion. Bring forth into joy, sing together in the voice places of Jerusalem. For the Most High shall comfort his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem.
We're not waiting until the sky crack. We're blessing and praising his holy name right now. There's no escape. We got Jacob's trouble to deal with. We got the problems we got to deal with. We got some hills we got to climb. Therefore, there's no retreat. We'll be steadfast, unmovable, always abound unto the work of the Most High higher until we leave this earth. You understand? Go ahead.
The Most High has made bare his holy arm in the eyes of all the nations. And all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our Yah.
They're going to see it. It's not going to be a mystery. Everyone's going to see as Israel is delivered. Just as it was before. When he delivered us out of the first Egypt, he shall do it again in front of the whole entire earth, and they shall know that a higher is the Most High. Go ahead.
Depart ye, go ye out from thence. Touch no unclean thing.
Right.
Go ye out of the midst of her, be ye clean, that bear the vessels of the Most High.
Now, this is the onus that has to come upon us. All the unclean things, all of the wicked things, all the things of paganism of America, we must be done with in order for us to take advantage of this salvation. It's just as simple as that. Verse 10. Salaki, verse 12.
For you shall not go out with haste,
right?
nor go by flight.
We ain't running, we ain't hiding.
For the Most High will go before you, and the Yah of Israel will be your reward.
You see that? That's why we ain't retreating. Because it's not going to be no, like it was when we left Egypt. We had, hey, man, hey, grab this, come on. Now we're two-stepping. What the old song, swag surfing? That's what we're going to be doing across the Atlantic. Swag surfing. You understand? That's what it is now. There is no escape, therefore there is no retreat. You understand? Go ahead. What's that last word?
Behold, my servant shall deal prudently. He shall be exalted and extolled and be very high. As many were astonished at thee, his visage was so marred more than any man, and his form more than the sons of men.
Because when they see us, when they go to our communities and they look at us, they're like, these guys don't stand a chance. They don't have no hope. There's nothing we can do. These guys are defeated. But look at what the Most High says, verse 15.
So shall he sprinkle many nations. The kings shall shut their mouths.
They shall shut their mouths.
For that which had not been told them, shall they see, and that which they had not heard shall they consider.
They shall consider. There is no escape, dude. Therefore, there is no retreat. God? Jeez. So today, we'd like to give Kal Halal, Abba Haya, Bahashem Yeshaya, and Precious Ruach for everything that took place in today. We pray and hope, ladies and gentlemen, that this was a blessing to you. We hope this has inspired you, hope that you were encouraged. But more importantly, we hope that the Most High's people was exalted to the point of understanding that we can't run anymore. It's time to go to war and finish this battle on top. You understand? We got some rough days ahead of us. But that's light at the end of the tunnel. If you just continue to walk with the Most High. Some days you may not be able to walk, but just stay still. Don't go back. It's all that it matters. Just don't turn around. You're going to see the salvation of the Most High. I promise you. Think you got anything? So, you good? Good? As we always say, ladies and gentlemen, continue to be steadfast, unmovable, always about into the work of the Most High. And if there's any understanding of how this happened and how we got back, if there's any confusion, I'm gonna let my man, my op, that's how we doing it. We always say, continue to be steadfast, unmovable, always about to the woman the most high. We love each and every one of you. Mommy Yashrala. Never forget it. Love you. How you did it, baby? Making the cloud,